Morning, very good morning to all of you. Because of some tremendous amount of uh, WhatsApp requests coming to my WhatsApp number and email, I have decided to extend the queer theory series lectures. So I delivered one lecture on queer theory. Uh, so what I have decided, I'll continue to keep developing one lecture of queer theory series after the other. So here I am with my second YouTube upload on queer theory lecture series. We have already talked about uh, epistemology and how epistemology is a phallogocentric construct because knowledge is always artificially produced, and epistemology or knowledge is never neutral but political. Obviously, we owe it to Michel Foucault. Adrian Reich also talks about compulsory heterosexuality. Um, and Judith Butler, uh, which I will keep going back to, has theorized gender as a performance and gender performance. But this, the one thing I must mention, although gender is a performance, and gender performance is not involuntary, it's compulsory. You are almost bound to perform certain sets of cultural practices, a certain sense of gendered acts. So, is gender a verb? Yes, gender is a verb. But is gender performance voluntary? I would say absolutely no. Gender performance is not voluntary. Gender performance is involuntary. That is, gender performance is compulsory. But we are not aware of the compulsion under which we do gender. And fiction of heteronormativity is repeated. And how do we conduct this compulsory performance? Because the fiction of heteronormativity, this heterosexuality, when it is repeated, it becomes a normal, it becomes normalized, and then we call it heteronormativity. But this heteronormativity is a fiction, is a regulatory fiction, is a story. And how does the story become a truth? Through continuous perpetual repetition from one generation to another, from one human being to another. And when we keep repeating this gender sets of gender performances, gender verbs, then they become then the gender verbs, then gender performance become normalized, and then heterosexuality becomes a kind of a normalized heterosexuality, and then it becomes heteronormativity, a kind of normalized heterosexuality. And this normalization of heterosexuality happens through continuous repetition of our doing of genders. Fiction of heteronormativity is repeated by generations after generations after generations after generations. And thus heteronormativity becomes natural through iterability, that is through constant repetition. Now, postmodernism also talks about copy and imitation, and that is performance, that is gender, that is drag. So therefore, this Judith Butler's notion of gender as a performance takes us very close to uh, oh, postmodern and post-structural critical discourses. And no wonder Butler deconstructs gender as a verb instead as a noun. Now, who or through which does this gender get repeated? That is through body. Now, what is body? Now, body is discursively produced. Body is discursively produced means body is produced through a discourse, through a series of discourses, you know, through discussions, through languages, uh, and and now I would be seeking a little bit of help of postmodern theories. What does TV tell you? Now, what does TV tell you? TV basically tells you how ugly you are. Yes, I'm repeating myself. What does TV tell you? TV basically tells you how ugly you are. And when TV tells you how ugly you are, TV gives you remedies, some solutions to get rid of that ugliness that I have been talking about. Or TV lets you know. And TV reminds us how ugly our bodies have been. One must conform to the standards of the beauty. And where do we get these standards of beauty? TV tells you, Fair and Lovely tells you, Veet tells you the standards of beauty to which we are supposed to conform to. So, so similarly, one must conform to the bourgeois models of heterosexuality and heteronormativity. So TV tells you how ugly you are, then gives us some Fair and Lovely, Veet, and those vagara vagara models, and then we conform to those models and we become beautiful. ঠিক আছে, but then this is how beauty or beautiful becomes a cultural discourse, and being a beauty or performance of being a beauty is a kind of a cultural bourgeois practice. Similarly, heterosexuality is also a fiction. And the civilization, the human beings are taught to conform to this narrative, to this compulsory regulatory narrative fiction of heterosexuality. And then once we conform to this fiction of heterosexuality, then heterosexuality is normalized, much like the beauty creams of TV. So heterosexuality therefore becomes the original, and homosexuality becomes the copy. So this is the bourgeois construct, and law and medicine, and this is how it functions in hand in gloves with capitalism, with state ideology. So that is why I have been saying, I have been repeating that sexuality is a political construct and it's a national concern. Because if you do not normalize or say naturalize heterosexuality, you won't have kids, you won't have babies coming through. So obviously the factories, the markets, the capitalism would be in trouble. So in order for markets and factories running, to keep them running, we have to have these laborers, these shromiks, and the shromiks would come from another factory. And what's the name of another factory? Another factory name of Fulshoja, that is heterosexuality, celebration of heterosexuality. ঠিক আছে, I mean, don't get me wrong, Fulshoja is not a deathbed, because I love family, I love couples, I love heterosexual couples. Don't get me wrong, please. And the Nietzsche genealogy and history, that's why Foucault keeps going back to history, genealogy, and Nietzsche. Now, these are two fundamental and foundational myths of humanity. That is the myths of pure origin and the emancipatory myth of the progress and teleology. And Foucault, who created this myth of origin, is also making a critique of it. Now, how is he making a critique of it? Because sex that produces the gender and that produces the desire. So discursively we understand desire to be the result of gender and gender to be the result of sex. Now when we think that, then cause is actually the effect, for something else did happen before the so-called desire. Because gender is the effect of sex and sex is the cause. So something else must have happened before sex. And this is where feminism only problematizes gender but not sex. And this is the limitations of feminist critical discourses. And this is where gender studies will supplement and complement feminist critical discourses big time. And is this a limitation of feminist studies, that feminist studies always deals with gender but never deals with sex? Yes, because This mistake happens by the feminists because the feminists pre-assume that sex is pre-discursive. Now, gender studies critiques and interrogates through deconstructionist practices this pre-discursivity of sex as ontology. So, gender studies basic rubric is that sex is not pre-discursive. Sex has never been pre-discursive, and this pre-discursivity of sex needs to be questioned. And therefore, gender studies exposes a very important limitation of feminist studies, which unfortunately kept on considering sex as a pre-discursive ontological myth. Now, coming back from the limitations of feminist studies, let's focus little bit at the end of this YouTube video. Let's focus little bit on identity. Now, what is identity? Identity is because gender studies is basically predicated on identity politics, and identity is determined over and over again through several disparate factors. But heteronormativity is common among all these disparate factors. So, if you are given a verb that is tumi chele, you have to do male, masculine, you play with guns, you beat, you play cricket, you fight in sweltering sun, and then what you are doing, you are not playing cricket, you are doing gender. And what gender are you doing? You are doing masculinity, and thereby you are becoming male in the process of having done the gender of masculinity, that is cricket khele. Now, this is why in Sam Salvador's Funny Boy, the playing of Bride by RG, who is Aaj Ka Arjun, RG I call it, becomes a subversive act. Because what RG does, RG refuses to perform or do the compulsory gender performance. We'll come back to this with more of Sam Salvador's Funny Boy's academic relationship with queer theory in my following uploads. We'll meet again. Meanwhile, you stay home, stay safe, and take a lot of care of yourself and your family, because family is important no matter how heteronormative and how heteronormalized we are, and how pre-discursive sex has always already been as ontology. Thank you. See you soon.